Basketball fans, welcome into Canada's home for talking hoops. This is the Hangout. I am Akil Augustine, and as always, we break down all the hot topics from a Canadian perspective with three guests. This week's guest, of course, the stalwart, the steady, the guy who's always at the end of the couch, the producer of the Toronto Raptors broadcast, Dan Gladman. First-time appearance for Toronto and Canadian basketball insider, a good friend of the family. Is it Randy Rose? Is that how the kids say it?
That's what the kids say, but it's Randy Ose.
Okay, all right. Okay, but
we'll go through Rose.
We're not doing governments.
Okay, no problem. We'll go through Rose.
And then my brother from another, of course, you know him, you love him because he can't get off your TV screen. Apparently he was in Paris and he was in Halifax. He's been all over LA, New York. Devo Brown, we love having you, but I'm not going to let you guys say anything off the top because I want to jump right into the hotness, and that is, of course, an epic, can we call it a grudge match? So much silence. The tension is palpable. Raptors, Pistons. Dwane Casey returns to Toronto. Devo Brown, I'll start with you. One of the knocks on Dwane Casey as the head coach of the Toronto Raptors was not the best at designing plays out of timeouts, end of game scenario. It came down to that tonight. Your impressions of Coach Casey?
I was like, hey, man, he can't drop a last-minute play. We're good. Let's go with history, right? That was the biggest complaint about him. That first play that Pascal got the block on, I was like, man, that's a nice little play right there. But he definitely did what he had to do, because how smart was it to bring Jose? He brought Jose Calderon in to inbound the ball, something that you don't see him do very often. He brought him in, and I thought that was a great coaching move right there. So I give him his props.
Dan Gladman, you were there. You just produced the broadcast. What was the vibe?
I mean, it was an emotional vibe, and then there was kind of a lull as you were into that third quarter, and it looked like the Raptors were going to run away with the game. But then all of a sudden,
coaching.
The Raptors stopped missing shots. As Nick Nurse said in his post-game press conference, they took their foot off the gas. And it's been an issue this year because almost all of their wins have been by 15, 20 points, and they just started coasting. Detroit came up with some big shots, some big plays, and yeah, Casey was brilliant at the end of the game.
Randy, I know you're an NBA insider, so you kind of understand the makeup of locker rooms and relationships with coaches and players. What do you make of the silence between Nick Nurse and Dwane Casey, knowing that they worked together for 5 years, but now that, Dwayne's moved on and Nick's taken over, neither wants to address what their relationship may be like?
I think with Dwayne, it's, Nick was his understudy.
Yeah.
And it was his understudy, kind of with the same team, but upgraded. Obviously, adding Kawhi and Danny helps. I don't know why. I think there's tension there.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone thought the Raptors were going to go get someone from outside.
Yeah,
and then
definitely I did.
To see them bring in someone that was here, everyone was like, wait, who's this guy?
Yeah.
So everyone thought it was going to be the same thing because he was under Dwayne. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, I want to see the day, Devo, you can chime in, but I can't wait to see the day we find out what the actual relationship is like behind the scenes.
Well, yeah, and I think Randy hit it on the head right there, because it is. You think that person's not really gunning for your job. But was he gunning for your job the whole time? And now that it's his,
backdoor
was there
lobbying.
stuff, and there's probably a lot of miscommunication. Who knows, man? But I mean, it was great to see Coach Casey back in Toronto, and that was his team was playing a little bit harder than our team was.
And props to him for keeping them engaged, especially when things got ugly.
They don't want to run suicides tomorrow. I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to play hard. If the coach says, hey, this game means a lot more, okay, guys, we have to win this one. So they're going to come ready and guns firing, and you saw they won tonight.
Now, you have your finger on the pulse of the youth in the league. One of the youth in the league is Pascal Siakam, and he put the world on notice this summer with Chris Paul coming out making comments about how his game is developing. So I'm curious to find out what the ceiling is on this guy. But first, to get a ceiling, you got to get a style. So do you have an NBA comparison for me for Pascal Siakam's style of play?
Well, with him winning, Eastern Conference Player of the Week,
shouts out to him.
That was huge. He's the Eastern Conference Draymond. I think.
Word.
I think he's a superstar in his role.
Yes.
And
the role star.
The role star. So he'll rebound if he has to that game. He'll lock up if he has to that game. One thing I love about him, grabs and goes.
Yeah.
Does not wait. Grabs and goes.
Well, I'm going to say Giannis. I'm not going to say he's as good.
Yeah,
as
you got to throw poor man's before you say.
Yeah,
you can't just say Giannis. You got to say poor man's. You got to qualify the statement.
What was your question?
Okay,
What was the question you
What's
asked?
the NBA comparison?
The question you asked was, what is a style? Okay, not who's as good as who.
Okay, all right.
So watch it.
Hey, it's intense.
Like you said, Nurse gunning for someone's job. I'm gunning for yours. At the end of the game against Detroit, before there was 1.2 seconds, Siakam had an amazing block shot.
Oh, yeah.
You put that together with assists,
Yes.
rebounds, rebound and go. There is a comparison to the style of play of Antetokounmpo. He
Just
doesn't
cut him
have
off,
the same
Randy.
body.
But he can shoot.
So he's better.
Who can shoot?
Pascal.
I think they
Not
both. I think they're
consistently,
both
though.
working
Well,
on their shot.
if I'm coming down as a point guard and I have Pascal and Giannis, which way are you going?
Fair. But
I'm
I'll
giving
say
it to
this.
Giannis. I'm giving it to Giannis.
I want to say
Giannis.
this, though,
For a trade.
going with both
for
of
a
what you
trade.
guys said, I agree with both of those comparisons. I like to say, though, if we go back in time, when I first watched Pascal and everyone was worried about Biyombo leaving and what's this, Pascal, I was like, man, this guy is next. He reminded me immediately, raw, of Darius Miles.
Yes.
Remember back in the day, because of that, grab the ball and go. And able, yeah, and yeah, you
Darius
know what
Miles.
I mean?
Yeah.
That's who he reminded me of immediately, like
That's
that raw,
impressive.
athletic talent of what he has. But he's
Did Miles play in a certain style? Like, was
was
he
with
kind
the
of a point
Clippers.
forward?
Yeah,
He
wasn't
handled the
point
ball.
forward,
Yeah,
but they
he
just
handled
weren't
the ball.
successful.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah,
remember him
so-
having much of a handle or much of.
Handle
playing
was
Okay, hold on,
okay.
wait. Before we get too off topic and start talking about the 2001 Clippers led by Lamar Odom and Elton
Corey
Brand,
Maggette.
Corey
Maggette,
Maggette,
yeah.
Keon Dooling, Eric Piakowski, one of my favorite teams of all
was-
time.
that was a
Michael
fun team.
Olowokandi.
Ooh, one of the worst draft picks of all time. Let's focus on the identity of this Toronto Raptors team. Now, this is a team that, I mean, on night to night, like, you haven't had Kawhi every night, so it's not like a one superstar team. It's also not a team that has a big three. So I'll start with you. What is the identity in this new NBA of this Raptors team?
It's a team, but I think Kawhi. It's a team as a whole. Yeah, it's a team. But I think Kawhi is trying to establish himself as that superstar. Where I feel like there's some resistance from Kyle Lowry. Problem is, I don't feel like we have a team leader. There's no vocal leader. Kyle, you saw it tonight after the final basket was scored. He looked right over at Valanciunas and waved his hand at him. Like really upset. I get you're upset, but if you're going to be the team leader, you got to pull him aside. You can't be that vicious about it. And Kawhi's just too quiet.
We only have time for one more person to chime in on this, so I'm going to go ahead and hand it out. No, I want to give it to you. I'm not giving him.
Oh,
I say
I like him.
I don't like him.
I know you don't. That's why I like him. So in terms of the Raptors, I don't think they have an identity yet, but I will say this. The ball is moving.
Yes.
The ball is definitely moving. And you'll look at the stat sheet at the end of the game, and Kawhi will have 30, and you're like, when did he score 30 points?
Yes, in the flow.
Because you realize that the ball's not sticking, and that's a problem that we've had previous times.
Yes.
Now the ball's moving. Pascal will have a double-double. Jonas will come off the bench in 19 minutes, have 21 and 12, and you're like, when did he do that?
Yeah.
Defense is what they're going to need if they're going
Yeah, I
to.
told you couldn't talk in a second.
They'll
All
have
right,
to have a defensive
listen,
identity.
let's cut him off. Cut his mic. Come on, Miles. All right, that's it for the first segment. Hey, if this team doesn't have an identity and they're, 12-3? Oh, look out what they do. Jimmy Butler does this all the time. He did it in Minnesota. He did it in Chicago. Will he do it in Philly? He had a chance tonight. We'll let you know how that turned out. Hang out.